Hello everyone and welcome back here. My name is Saeed. I'm in year 2 and I'll be explaining the physiology of aging in this video. I won't go into much detail, I'll just explain the main key points that you should understand and focus on. So the outcomes for this video are: what is aging, what are the causes of aging, what physiological changes that we should expect in aging, and if there's any treatment for aging. So first of all, to understand aging, aging is not a disease. No, it happens to every single one of us, and it's basically a physiological response that happens in our body, and it affects all our organs. All the body organs and systems will go through aging, and it's completely normal. So, as a definition, what is aging? Aging is the generalized deterioration of the body systems, or we can say generalized deterioration of the body functions, body basic functions. So it affects everything, as I said, and it has an onset actually. This onset will depend on the person's lifestyle, whether he exercises or he has sedentary lifestyle, his genetics, if he has any predispositions to illnesses or uh, errors that will cause aging to come faster. We'll discuss this more later on. Also, it will depend on the body system that is involved in this aging process. Each body system can cause different changes, or the aging in the body system will happen differently and at a different rate. Uh, but as a general idea, aging can start from late 20s to late 30s. And if you see someone like in his late 20s or mid 30s, you will notice that he's starting to have white hair. And white hair actually is an evidence of aging. So, what causes aging? There are many theories, nothing is actually confirmed, but this is what we have reached with our knowledge. So before going into that, you should understand something, that the systems, or let's remind you that systems, the body systems are made of organs, the organs are made of tissue, and tissue is made of cells. So the cells are mutual between all the systems because they are the building blocks. So these building blocks are the cause of aging because they change. Okay, so cells change in two different patterns, or two different ways, or two different causes. Okay, so first of all, let's go to the nucleus. So if you remember the structure of a cell, we have a nucleus, we have a cytoplasm. So nucleus contains all the DNA in our system, or let's say all the DNA that makes our body. So this DNA, it will be affected inside the nucleus. How? So we have first the DNA damage theory that indicates, or that explains that the repair rate in our body is a bit, or with time it becomes slower. So we will have more DNA errors or DNA damage. Example as a strand break or a mutation. Strand break is when we have a missing nucleotide that will stop the transcription, and it will stop or deactivate the genes that we want to activate. So if you remember, we have in the nucleotides we have A or adenosine, T, C, G. So ATCG, remember? So in the strand break there's a missing T or a missing nucleotide, so it will cause a damage or an error. Also in a mutation we have mismatching nucleotides, we can say. So in this case it will also cause, or accumulation of these two, they will cause the DNA damage. Okay, so there are many aspects of mutation and strand breaks that I think you already took in genetics. Okay, so I won't go too deep into that. Also, we have epigenetic changes, that there are changes that don't happen in the genes themselves, but above them, or we can say close to them or related to them. Example, so here we said DNA itself will be damaged, but here epigenetic change. So it gets affected by environmental factors. For example, smoking, drugs, chemicals. Also, they happen in the development, something congenital. Also, diet will affect it, and the aging itself and the buildup of errors will cause more epigenetic changes. So two examples we have of epigenetic changes. We have DNA methylation and histone modification. So the DNA methylation, when a methyl group, it goes and it attaches to DNA or DNA strand or DNA nucleotide, okay, so, or a gene. So this attachment, it will cause deactivation of the gene. So it will go, and if there's a gene that wants to get transcript, it will go and stick on it. So it's tagged now that this DNA, it can be activated, increasingly activated, or repressed, or depressed, or deactivated. Okay. Also, same thing for histones or the histone modification. You should know that histones are positive charged bodies that get attached to the DNA or to the genes, and they make on the chromatin or the chromosome. Okay, so these epigenetic factors, they will bind to the histone tails, and they will either allow the wrapping, increased wrapping, or decreased. Okay, so histone, they wrap on deactivated genes, but with these epigenetic factors, they will cause gene activation that we don't need. These genes we don't need. They are random and they can cause a lot of errors. They can cause cancer. So the end point of this epigenetic changes are either cancer, autoimmune disease, mental disorders, example also diabetes. Okay, so the last but not least is the telomere shortening. Now, telomere is a part of the chromosome. Remember the shape of the chromosome? So, telo means end, and mere, I think, body. So, the body at the end. So, this body actually protects the inside chromosome. And this protection will prevent any factors coming from the inside, from the outside, to cause damage in the chromosome. But the problem is after the first division, it decreases. So more and more division, more and more chromosomes, less telomeres. Once a cell reaches 0 telomere, it will stop the division. So it causes definite or certain amount or certain amount of divisions that will happen, and cells generation or making. But interestingly, in cancer, actually, cancer has an enzyme called telomerase that regenerates these telomeres, and this causes cancer to rapidly proliferate indefinitely. Okay. Now, the second cause of the change that happen in the cell are actually that happens in the cytoplasm, and they are the free radicals. So free radicals are molecules containing oxygen, and they are negatively charged. They basically are byproducts of the metabolism that happens in our body, and they cause what's known as oxidative stress. So they go to healthy atoms and healthy body organelles or body proteins, and they corrupt them, making more free radicals. So they interfere with the function of the proteins, DNA, and lipids. After the causes, we go to the physiological changes. So what actually happens? In the physiological changes, the functions, or in aging, all the functions will decrease. So what functions are we talking about? We're talking about immunity, because we have immune cells. So these immune cells will have a lot of damage, so decreased immunity. RBCs are getting damaged, so decreased oxygen delivery. Endocrine cells are getting damaged, so hormone imbalance. Liver and kidney getting damaged, so decreased detoxification and buildup of toxins. Also, the stem cells are actually getting used up, so we have decreased healing and regeneration. But this all will depend on the type of aging we're talking about. So how do you think that will depend on it? So we have two types of aging. We have the physiological normal aging and the accelerated aging. The normal aging is primary aging, and it happens to all of us. It's already programmed in our cells, and it can't be reversed. Physiological aging can't be reversed. But accelerated aging, on the other hand, it depends on each individual, and it should have an underlying cause, and it's reversible once we cure the underlying cause at some point. So what could be this underlying cause? It could depend on the habits, as we said, lifestyle, genetics, and if this person has any illnesses, underlying illnesses, diabetes, hypertension, atherosclerosis, blah blah blah. So this all will accelerate the aging. It will cause pathological aging. Now, sorry, 1 second. Okay, 1 second. Okay, good. So in the end, we have the treatment of aging. Could there be any treatment for aging? How do we treat aging? So, can we stop aging? No, we can't stop aging. Aging is a normal process that happens and it can't be stopped. It can't be reversed. As we said, physiological aging can't be reversed. But can it be delayed? Yes, it can be delayed. We have medications that could be taken, or let's say lifestyle changes that could happen and increase the lifespan of a person. And do we target like one organ or systemic? No, it's systemic, because the system is getting deteriorated, so we have to do something to increase, or yes, increase the lifespan of the system. For example, exercise. It helps a lot our heart and CVS. Now, how would we treat the physiological aging? Now, we mentioned before that the causes, we have DNA damage. So we have here DNA repair. We can enhance DNA repair. By the way, all these treatments are actually still theoretical and they're under trial, so nothing is confirmed yet, but we should learn them. So we have DNA repair or enhanced DNA repair. So the rate of repair will overcome, not overcome, let's say there will be equilibrium in the DNA repair and DNA damage. So aging could be delayed at some point, or to some extent. Also, epigenetics are basically environmental factors, so we can try and reset these epigenetics by removing the methylation that happened or the histone modification. And there are also other studies about that. Also, we mentioned telomeres shortening, so here we try to increase telomeres length. We can give drugs that increase telomeres length, or by the way, we can use telomerase that actually encaps cells as a treatment. This is all, as I said, still theoretical. Now, in the cytoplasm, we mentioned we have free radicals that will cause oxidative stress. As I said, oxidative, so negatively charged bodies will go on and take the, or let's say, corrupt other proteins or DNA or lipid. So these antioxidants, they are positively charged and they are happy and cheerful, so they will go to these bad and sad free radicals and give them the energy that they need, or give them the atoms that they need. So in this case, it will calm them down and it will prevent the oxidative stress from happening or decrease it to some extent. Also, we mentioned that healing and regeneration will decrease because of the stem cells that are getting used up. So we can actually implant stem cells, and this implantation will replenish our reservoir of stem cells and help us decrease the aging, or let's say delay the aging process. By now I ended this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you can leave feedback for further videos. Thank you so much.